Good evening, Mother Cram.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 263 of the Rand Nerds podcast. Yay! So we do, yes. We've made it to 263.
You know what? I completely forgot that we did the last podcast, you know?
We didn't do the last podcast. So I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first one with a podcast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wait, 260. So, what happened to the other ones, man?
What other ones?
Then how did we get to 263? Are we like one of them weird films where there's like, there's a made up...
What are you talking about? There's no number below 263. You start counting at 263 and go up from there.
263, 264. Wow. But there's a lot of extra fat in between there's pad in there, man. Should we not start at potentially a lower number?
There aren't any lower numbers.
But should we not make some lower numbers?
No, that'd just upset maths.
Oh, okay.
You can't upset mathematicians; they go mad.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
We established this.
We established this last. We established it on the last podcast.
Like, when's the last time a fucking mathematician completely flipped out and lost their stuff? Ted Kaczynski. I just didn't want to say it on the podcast. I was like, it's Ted Kaczynski.
I completely forgot. I knew.
I was like, how is this not dinging to you, man?
I completely forgot he was a mathematician. I thought for some reason in my head I had him like down as like I knew he was like some sort of academic, but I completely forgot he was a mathematician.
He's an English major.
Yeah. Let's be honest, they have to go mental because there's nothing else for them to do.
It's true. It is true. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
languages.
Language.
So now everyone's like, get all them English teachers and round them up. It's like, no, don't execute them. Why? Because they're not actually that crazy. Well, who else is going to go crazy? Science teachers, maths teachers, English teachers, geography teachers.
Yeah.
No one listens to them.
And if you're
history teachers.
Yeah. And as we all know, PE teachers don't get crazy. They just get in trouble for child-related incidents.
Just as a random note, that was the history teacher in my school.
Was it?
Yeah, see, there you go.
I had someone at work who told a story about her son's coach at flight football.
Yeah.
And he got done for doing naughty things. And apparently he used to sit there and watch them shower. I was like, and no one flagged this before? No one noticed this before?
All right, lads, go out the shower. Cool, you go into the shower. I'm going over here to have a pint. That should be acceptable.
Yes. Not stay in the corner watching.
Well, yep, you just got to make sure.
It's done properly.
Have you washed your scrot properly?
Oh, no. Let's move away from that subject line, I think, quite quick.
Really random, because my kids started trolling earlier on. And so, oh, yeah, fucking... I can't remember what it was. And the trouble is, right, you know me, when like I just did then, I escalate things really badly.
Yeah.
And the kids have learnt that I don't have a filter, but they haven't got much of a filter either. And so when they go one level up, it's like, ooh,
challenge accepted.
That is exactly what goes off in my head. And my kids are like, oh, fucking hell, Dad. And I was like, yeah, nailed it.
Yeah. Moving swiftly on,
Cool.
As we've now offended half audience, there's only like 5 of them. So,
5?
Well, we are now starting to average double figures on our streams.
What we're going to have to do, mate, is we're going to have to go more PC, get a bigger audience, so I can then go, ah.
From what I've learned to watching popular YouTubers, you need to shout at the screen a lot. You need to make sure every thumbnail is your face doing this. Yeah. Or like sort of a weird scowling motion.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
No.
Dad actually should have.
Is that like my normal face? Hang on.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
I can't do it. My face doesn't do the thing.
Apparently, they said that thumbnails of like sort of people looking slightly shocked just get more views. And I don't understand why. But then But then, if I understood why, we'd actually probably have more than 105 other subscribers.
Let's be honest, mate. Fucking, I look at YouTube and all these other different social media things now, and the amount of clickbaity titles are discussed. And it's got to the point now. It's like, look, I almost guarantee you're trying to sell me something. You've got a clickbaity title or a dog shit thumbnail.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe. Had enough, man.
Yeah. And if you find yourself
Valve did it again. what did they do? I'll have to click the video. Unsubscribe.
Yeah. And if you find, and if you out there find yourself getting stressed up with this, let's talk about our sponsor, BetterHelp. Now,
fucking hell, what was it? BetterHelp AI organizers like, oh mate, do you manually go through your day schedule and shit? We've got an AI tool that'll do that for only $99.95 a day. Go fuck yourself. What was the other one? Oh, are you worried about cybersecurity? Not really.
Do you want to look at porn without everybody knowing? Well, let's talk about a VPN for you.
Yeah, boy. Dude.
I would have a lot of respect for a YouTuber who did that. If they got like a subscription with like NordVPN, they said, look, we know you want to look at porn, and you want to look at porn in countries that perhaps block it.
Are you not allowed to say porn? No, I'd say porn. It's corn.
Corn. Is that the same? Is that the same category as you can't say die, you have to say unalive and that sort of thing?
You've got it. Woo! He's got it, mate. I had a rant about this. I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, right? But I can't stand people softening the language. I'll give you an example. We've said unalive. We've said corn. Let me offend some more people. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Okay. She took an unexpected, somewhat bumpy excursion from her wheelchair. That doesn't sound too bad, does it? It's just, oh no, maybe she's just, oh,
she fell out.
Shocking. Yeah. Oh no, that's horrible. It's not, no one's really like, oh, no, some cunt just pushed the bitch down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Don't soften the language. Just say it.
Yeah.
Please, just say it.
Don't fear the algorithm.
Yeah, fuck the algorithm. It doesn't exist.
Can I also, that brings me to something else, which I really, my latest hatred trend I get at the moment, where they're now describing any algorithm as AI. I hate, it's like,
Ted Kaczynski would be losing his mind right now.
Yeah. Any algorithm that does like something semi-processing data is AI. No, it's fucking not. Okay,
it's maths.
It's math. It's like my sister was telling me a story today about a new AI thing that she said, I found, actually, because she's very anti-AI, but like proper military anti-AI. Anything else, she just automatically says, AI is crap. That's sort of like.
I'm quite anti-AI, but it depends what it is.
Yeah, I think AI is a tool that will be able to be like everything. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad, and there's a modern shit in between. And also, it's also got some scary things tied to it as well. Now, she was telling me how apparently she didn't know a lot of the details. Apparently, there's these fish called lionfish.
Yeah.
And these lionfish apparently are invasive species in certain parts of America and eating all the local fish, and not paying, leaving tips or anything. And so, what they've been doing is they build these little robots because there's nothing to predator on them. There's no predators for them. So they build these little robots that they obviously have been controlling, and they've got like two little prongs. They go up to the fish, give them electric shock to stun them, and they stuff them inside themselves. And then they bring them up to the surface where they've got like a full tank.
Right.
Now, apparently, she said, well, they had been using AI before to spot the fish. No, they hadn't. They were using some degree of image recognition to, like, spot something that looks like fish. It's not AI.
Yeah, it's just
image. Yeah. So, but now, because they have to be like controlled by a person to do it. Now they're apparently going to be made autonomous. I said, I've seen this film. What happens when all the lionfish are gone? Directive must kill.
Invasive. Go after the next invasive species. Hang on a minute. The humans.
Yes.
Are they supposed to be there?
Yes. We've done analysis and we realised the humans are the most dangerous species in this area, so we're going to start attacking them instead. And that's just it. I said this is a start of a film.
Go for it, AI.
Yeah, go for it. Put us out of our misery. It's either the AI's going to put us out of misery, or like the asteroid's going to hit us in about 30 years' time.
Can't wait. Yeah. Or we're going to do a Tim Curry. We're going to escape capitalism, space, and then we'll nuke this from orbit. We'll just mix all of the things together. We'll bail to space. We'll become communists. We'll nuke the planet. And then AI will trap us in the space station. So then we'll need to have another space station, and it's just going to go on forever until,
yeah, something like that. But yeah, there you go.
Image recognition is AI now. Oh, bless.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
Well, how the fuck did we get away with it, like, what, 20 years ago then?
Well, apparently that was an AI 20 years ago. Now, if you just say, does your algorithm do something? Yes, it's AI.
God, all these buzzwords.
Yeah, so but it'll
check out this cool shit. It's like, we had that 20 years ago, you twat.
Yeah.
Well, someone was saying it to me the other day. I said, you do know we've been doing that since the 70s. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this ain't new.
Look, AI is just it's the new blockchain. It's the new little I before something. It's the new eco. That was a phase at the time. It's the new turbo, when everything needs to be called a turbo. You know, it's the new like something 2000 or the something tronic.
Mate, once upon a time these things meant something, and then we've just bastardized the language. Can we stop the doublespeak? Like, just all of it, just stop. Just language, figure out what it means. I know language evolves over time, which is really confusing for people because, you know, something that I say, someone else will take it completely out of context because to them it means something else, right? But now we should start speaking in machine code, like absolutes.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, you know, if I say this, then, you know.
How very tech priest of you.
Oops. This is going to get really bad, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Everyone's life will be pain.
Yeah.
We'll put the dead in these big robots and tell them to go off and do things.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, dear. Talking of life is pain, how's Monster Hunter Wilds?
Fuck off. You knob. You fucking knob. All right. No. Okay. So I think I've been doing this for the last few years, since like 2018, 2019, when Monster Hunter World came out. I've been saying it's not my Monster Hunter. Did it with Monster Hunter World, did it with Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Wilds. It's not my Monster Hunter. I said during Rise I'd let it go. I'd let it go. I know that the kind of Monster Hunter that I loved 20 years ago, I started playing Monster Hunter back in 2005 on the PlayStation 2. I loved that series. Pattern recognition, exploring maps, gathering materials, the preparation for the hunt was the thing, right? Back in the day, you'd turn up at a little village of like little cavemen guys, you know, your fucking mud huts and shit made out of sticks and all that. And village elder goes, "Hey yo, Apex Predator has decided to like not do what Apex Predator normally does. Can you find out what the fuck is going on?" And so, oh yeah, cool, right. To do so though, first, can we sort out that, like, I don't know, these things have now moved into our territory and are destroying our crops. Go sort them out. Rockin'. I'll do that, Gov. Off I go. Hey, yo, we need to go make some medicine and shit. Can you go gather some materials from this area? Yeah, cool. Not a problem. Oh, by the way, one of our caravans got attacked. Could you go and help them motherfuckers? Because, like, this random thing has turned up. Yeah. Okay, and eventually you put it all together. Oh, there's the guy. That's why this is happening. What a cunt. Hunt it. Yeah. Kill it. Right? And you'd have to gather supplies on your map, or you could buy some basic stuff from the village. You'd have to manually mix certain items together to make better items. You'd have to manually track the monster around on a map. So a map would be divided into zones, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you know, that kind of thing. And once you found it, like, it didn't like just follow it. You had to mark it, and then you could follow it for a brief period of time until the mark wore off. If you ran out of items on the map on a hunt, you could go and gather more materials on the map, limited materials, mind you. If you did that around a monster, the monster would target you, and they'd kind of like, you know, they were always kind of, you had to be very deliberate in what you did in classic Monster Hunter, because it was very easy to get killed in classic. If you didn't pay attention, learn the patterns and all that kind of stuff, it was slow, but you really had to be on the ball with what you were doing. Monster Hunter World comes out and it goes, we've upped the resolution on everything and upped the detail on everything, so now you can't see anything. You know, like a herb is now buried in this high-res texture of this like forest or whatever. Good luck finding the thing you want. So to help you, we're going to give you some like fireflies, and they will highlight everything that you can and all that. And if you go and pick up a herb, we will automatically make you a potion. Right? We'll just do it. You don't have to go into a menu or anything. We will just make it for you. Pick up a herb, now you've got a potion. Back in the day, that was you had to get a herb and a blue mushroom, and you had to manually mix them together. Good job. Okay, so quality of life stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in doing all this quality of life stuff, they've made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Yeah, because it sounds to me a better solution to that would have been to make the herbs and the things more distinctive, so that you had to look for them and hunt down, a bit like, say, in Green Hell, where you had to look for the plants.
Yeah,
so
that was a fun part of the game, but people don't like the fact that it slows things down, right? Also, you would be able to track the monster. You would kind of go, oh, there's some footprints here. Hit the examine button, and it would kind of log over time your character's knowledge of the monster's movements. And eventually it would just go fling. The little globby firefly things would go, fuck, mate, the monster's over this way. And so you'd run onto the map and it would just light up and go, there it is. And you go follow the trail that it makes. Right? So instead of it being your knowledge, like in classic Monster Hunter, of monster movement, monster locations, where they feed, where they rest, and all that kind of stuff, but you learn that, the game does it for you. I mean, obviously you can still learn it, but I mean, if you're just going to press a button and it goes, go that way, you don't have to, right?
Yeah,
kind of taking the hunt away from Monster Hunter.
I mean, I think it's perhaps point out that the new Monster Hunter is easy enough to play. I've heard this last week. It's easy to play when you're falling asleep.
Yeah, well, because you did. I mean, you played it for the first time, on the 24 hours. I mean, mate, you were tanking pretty hard. And I mean, I was too, to be honest with you. And we were just kind of fucking about and wrecking things. It's not my Monster Hunter. And in World, they introduced this really annoying thing. It's not terrible. They're trying to, because that was the first big Monster Hunter in the West. Like, everyone got it. They all thought that Monster Hunter, like, that was the first Monster Hunter. It wasn't, right? I've been playing since like 2005. Game came out in 2004 in Japan. And this was like 2018. So it was already, a pretty long running series at this point. They started to shoehorn in a story. And back in the day, you'd have two lobbies. In the classic Monster Hunter, you had the single-player lobby, which was kind of your little village story. And then you had your online gathering hub, where you'd get a different set of quests, but you could just instantly get into them with your mates. You'd all go to the hub, and it's like, hey, should we go hunt, whatever this thing is? Put the quest up. They go to the board, they select it, and it's like, are we all ready? Yeah, ready up, let's go. And you're in the hunt. In Monster Hunter World, you had to do the story. So if you didn't fight monsters in the story, they wouldn't appear in the hub for multiplayer. And so you'd start a story mission, and let's say, well, you know it, Ram, right?
Yeah.
You start a mission, and if you hadn't seen a video, a cutscene, I couldn't join you.
Yes.
Right? Now, it's worse because if I hadn't seen that video yet, we'd both have to join in two separate instances, right? To go and see this cutscene. Then one of us would have to leave the instance to then rejoin the other person to go and do the hunt. If you want to play with your mates, that's a terrible way of doing things.
Yeah, not very elegant.
No, it's messy, it's annoying, it's not fun, it's slow. All you want to do is get in the game with your mates and hunt monsters.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand that a lot of people are like, yeah, but I like the story. I like going through things solo. Great. I played Monster Hunter solo, completely solo for years because none of my mates had the game. I had to play it solo. As soon as I got that taste of multiplayer Monster Hunter, I never wanted to let it go. So when World started forcing me to go, now you have to wait for so-and-so to see the cutscene, fucking infuriating. Especially when other games were like, here's a gathering hub, off you go, separate from the story. So I understand, but they have made it easier to do multiplayer. You can just connect to a lobby. They're all online. You can fire an SOS flare now, which means that other players, like the flare goes up, it comes up on a hub on a lobby. XYZ person needs help. You can only fire an SOS flare after you've seen the story video anyway, right? And it goes, this person's fired a flare. Do you want to join to help them? Yes. And then other hunters can join in and help you fight the thing. So it's it's great. You can get in with other people a lot easier, But then they released Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise was cool in that they went back to the dual lobby system. You had your single player lobby. One of the twins of the village was your offline quest hub. And then you had your multiplayer quest hub. And you could just go in between the two if you wanted to. Right? Your mates wouldn't play and do single player quests with you. That's stuff for you to do. You could fuck off and go do all your multiplayer quests with your mates. Just like, hey, everyone ready up, just like the old days. In we go. I don't remember if there were like video things you had to wait for in those, but there was a whole different set of hubs and hunter ranks to go and do with your mates. And that was fucking cool. Wilds has come out. And they got rid of the multiplayer lobby again. Monster Hunter Wilds is open world Monster Hunter World on an engine that isn't designed for open world games. Monster Hunter Wilds plays very much like Monster Hunter World, with the difference that now, instead of having to go back to a hub to start a quest, or unless it's a main story quest, if it's just a regular hunt you want to do, you can just wander around the map. Monster will appear on the map, like just a random guy who's just kind of trotting his way through. It's like a big expedition. Previous Monster Hunter games, like Monster Hunter World, had these. They were called expeditions. You could go out into the forest, sit in the forest, hunt the monster, and then if another monster kind of walked through the zone, you could fight that one too, and so on and so on. In Monster Hunter Wilds, you go on these kind of like you just leave the main camp, you just walk out because it's all tied together. You can fight a monster and it'll throw, like you'll hit a monster a couple of times and it'll throw up a quest, and then people can join you. Okay, that's cool. But it still has the whole, if you want to unlock the bigger monsters, you have to do the story. And it's like, okay, how long's the story? It's about 15 hours. Oh. So I have to wait for my mate to finish the cutscene before I can come in. Have you seen the cutscene yet? No. Okay. Well, if you haven't, you have to go see the cutscene, and then you have to leave the lobby and then rejoin it. Okay. And by the way, sometimes it'll bug out and consider that a cut if you leave and rejoin. Okay. What's a cart? A cart is when you die in Monster Hunter, you have 3 chances in a fight, usually 3 or 5, depending on the hunt. If you lose 3 times, if you cart 3 times, the hunt is over. And sometimes it can count it as a cart if you just leave. It will bug and say, oh, you've left your instance, cart number 1. You then join your mate's instance, you've now got a cart on the log.
Very stupid design.
Yes. Doesn't always happen, but it was a bit of a pain in the ass. So you're having to go through these stories again to be able to open the bigger monsters to hunt, to play with your mates. It takes about 15 hours. The story is quite nice. It's nice. Monster turns up, starts disrupting the ecosystem again. You go solve why things are happening. Great. But I don't have a multiplayer lobby. I can't just get in with my mates and play. I have to do this random story stuff to unlock the bigger stuff. And again, if you don't do the first 15 hours, Monster Hunter is split between 3 ranks. Low rank, high rank, G rank. Right? Low rank, when you start Monster Hunter, that's your tutorial. It's your tutorial. When you first see your credits roll in Monster Hunter, congratulations, you finished the tutorial. That's 15 hours in Wilds. Then you get to high rank. High rank opens up a bit. So you've got some bigger stuff to fight. It's right there off the bat. You can just rock around and fight higher level stuff now because you're in high rank. The expeditions kind of open up a bit. You've got harder stuff to fight. But high rank still has story tied to it. And if you want to get to the bigger fights, you have to go through more of that story. Roll around, say, another 5 hours. You've done high rank story. Cool. G rank normally comes in after an expansion. It's since World, at least. There's no expansion, obviously, because it's just a launch game. Okay. So how many of the monsters on the roster have you actually fought? Most of them. Okay. So what am I going to do with my mates now that I've fought pretty much every monster in the game? Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, there's still loads of like little side quests where you can fight like multiples of these monsters or slightly evolved versions of these monsters or whatever. It's like, nah, I've had to play for 20 hours by myself pretty much.
Yeah. I'll
pass
experience as a group.
Yeah, and it's not designed for that. In fact, a chap I know got to Hunter rank 60, which is probably 30 hours, 40 hours of gameplay, maybe more. And then he's like, okay, now I'm ready to play with my mates. I was like, dude, you fucking finished the game. You've finished the story. You've killed like multiple of every enemy on the map. You've geared up. You've got really good gear. What is there left to do? And it wasn't fantastic by that point. It's buggy as fuck too. I tried playing on Linux on launch and it was broken. I mean, it would work, and then hair physics would break. And there's a clip online where I hit a monster, and all of a sudden, my screen gets covered in, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a polygon explosion.
Right.
Like instead of everything kind of being meshed together, it just kind of goes, and my entire screen is just covered with triangles, just flickering triangles. Because my character is like exploded, or the monster is kind of exploded. It's not still within its kind of mesh where it's supposed to be.
You saw clip through it.
Well, it's kind of just come out of existence. It's filling the map, but only like on my screen or whatever. It still does it on Windows, by the way, just not as much. What was another one? Parts of textures would just disintegrate. So let's say you've got, or parts of models would disintegrate. So let's say you've got body, and then the head's kind of attached to that, and then the legs are kind of like attached. I would sometimes hit a monster and the head would just completely disappear, or they'd be walking along and the legs would disappear, and I just like see this like sausage of a monster just kind of floating across the map. There have been things where texture pop is disgusting in this game. Terrible, be it on Windows or Linux. And I just want to throw out there, I do not have a low-end PC at all. I'm comfortably playing this game on high settings at 4K. I even went down to like 1440p, just to kind of, get a bit more frame rate out of it, because it's a hog. Like 4K, I get 30 FPS, 30 to 40 FPS on it. They also recommend, just note that system requirements on this fucking game are ridiculous. Ridiculous. For what it is. So like you're looking at a character, and all of a sudden there's like, how like if someone were to go into my kitchen and start turning on my kitchen light in the background, you start to see like things flickering on and off, as you can see things disappear. That starts to happen. Like lighting will just go pop in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Textures on the floor will go, you're on a really low res texture right now, bam, all of a sudden there's all the detail just kind of builds in. You're like, okay, it's not like I've like maxed out my VRAM or whatever. What the fuck is going on here? Character models will sometimes have so little detail that they look like they're on the PlayStation 1. Like they just fall apart. They'll be like super low poly. If they're not super low poly, the lighting will go a bit skank, and all of a sudden the characters will look like they're from the PlayStation 3 era. So like they'll look kind of rubbery, like Oblivion-like.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't look right. But when you get into a hunt and the monster is there and it's working, that stuff looks beautiful. Sometimes it looks beautiful. The world also looks very boring at times. Like the opening area is a fucking desert. It's part of the story, but it's a fucking desert. It's sand. Just It's not great. Don't get me wrong. I could have got better performance on my machine if I upgrade a few bits. My machine is now probably like middle of the road these days. But Ram, you'd have been playing it on like 1080p lowest on your rig, which to me is a fucking joke. The PlayStation 5 can only play it at like 4. It's playing it without upscaling it. It's playing at like 1440p at 30 to 40 FPS, which is kind of like where my PC sits really. It's a fucking no. For the system requirements that it has, it doesn't look that good.
No.
The high res texture pack requires 16 gigs of VRAM. It's just, it isn't good enough for what they're asking for.
Yeah.
The system requirements don't tie into the way the game looks, to the way the game plays. And it got to the point, I said this to a few people, that SOS flare, we can get other hunters to come in. They now have this thing where AI will join you. Like there's some AI story characters that will just come in instead, like whilst they're waiting for real hunters to come in. There were times where I was so disengaged, I just wanted to get through the story, get through the hunts, that I would start the quest, fire the SOS flare, and then walk off and go and make coffee.
And let the AI sort out for you.
Yeah, I was so disengaged with the hunts. Don't get me wrong, I didn't do them much quicker because as you get AI or other humans in, the difficulty ramps up a bit. But by that point, I was so bored of it. I was like, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to play with my mate, and my mate's having to go through the game pretty much solo himself, or unless I'm a hunt ahead of him. Because I've already then seen the cutscenes. I then just have to wait for his cutscene to play. Then I can jump in and hunt with him. But then when he catches up to me, I have to fuck off and go do another couple of hunts myself, so that we can. And then if my mate goes, "Oh yeah, I was playing today on my lunch break or whatever," I'm fucked again. So it's like, well, shit. Now we've got to wait for us both to do the. We might as well have just sat there on a call playing single player. There's a wound system now, so when you wound a monster, it'll glow, and you can now pull in a trigger to target a monster, like to target like wounds. So you go into like a kind of like an aiming mode. Like you'll get a target and reticule, and you can kind of spin around on the spot to like aim for parts of the monster, which is ridiculous because you never used to be able to do that. But now you can go, I'm going to focus exclusively on the tail and like aim with your sticks like a first-person shooter to start fucking hacking away at just that bit. You open up a wound, you pull the bumper button, and you do massive damage on the monster, knocking it over usually. And but that'll also give you loads of materials. You get loads of extra materials, not just the materials you get for killing the monster. So that's one bonus. You're building like armor sets, like left and right. Like no, you do like one hunt, you've got a full armor set. Whereas before you'd go, I'll do that hunt. I'll have to do that another couple of times to get the parts I need to make the armor set.
Yeah.
Not in this fucking game. What was one of the other things? I don't know, man. It's not my Monster Hunter. When it works, it's really good.
Yeah.
There's a couple of hunts in that game that like made my fucking heart go, and I could feel the like hairs on the back of my neck stand up. We were like, yeah, this is great. And then all of a sudden we get stuck in another cutscene. I think we maybe only had 2 hunts in the entire game where we actually felt like, yes, this is amazing. And as soon as the game was over, as soon as we like finished we finished low rank, got the credits roll, went through high rank, did high rank, did a few optional sides, we just uninstalled the game.
Yeah.
I was just, we don't want to play this anymore. It's
in a bizarre way, it sounds like they were halfway to almost created like an MMO type experience, but then fucked it up.
Yeah.
By having this weird, okay, you got this big open world. I mean, Monster Hunter sounds like a game that would be good as an MMO.
Yeah. It was an MMO back in the day, by the way.
Oh, I don't know that.
It had one. It did have one.
Well, that sounds like that's what they're trying to aim for. Then this weird cutscene system, and it's like it feels like they're trying to shoehorn a game into an engine that can't just do it.
Mm-hmm.
The engine was built for one thing. It's now not. They're trying to sort of like strapping big engines onto a Boeing's Max.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
like you think you've got the systems in place to make it work, it just doesn't work. I'm sure there's like mechanical changes that I've not mentioned, but it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right.
No.
So there's only a handful of hunts that really feel like Monster Hunter, where you feel like you're actually on the edge, like an actually like skin of your teeth getting through this fight, or like if you fuck up, like there's enough going on that it feels like the monster's doing massive damage and the environment's getting torn up and stuff. You're like, this is amazing, but you only get that a handful of times.
Yeah,
it probably doesn't help actually that we played the beta, and the beta, you can go to the quest hub, and the quest hub has like 5 monsters on it. And you can just go, you select the monster and you fuck off and you go and hunt it. But what some people didn't know was that was the game in high rank. So when you killed the monsters and you carved them, you used the wound system, you'd get plus materials. Plus materials are what you unlock in high rank. So you get standards with no plus. That's your low rank stuff, your tutorial stuff. Plus is high rank, which is the harder difficulty stuff. They had a few like not hard guys on there, but like they had the fucking end boss of the game in the beta.
Yeah.
As a hunt. Yeah. And we were able to just go, here's a hunt. Do you want to do the hunt? Yeah. Your mates go, yeah, I'll do that. No cutscenes, no stories. Let's go. Let's fight it. Fucking great. You get into the game. Now you got to do a cutscene first. Oh. Okay. And as I say, mechanically, Monster Hunter has gotten a lot faster over the years. As I say, you had to be very deliberate back in the day. You chug a potion, you chug your potion, you get your health back. Your character stands there and flexes as the monster goes, he's fucking healing, and he runs at you. And the monster will just do massive damage and fuck you up again. So you have to be very, careful with how you do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In World, you can walk as you chug on a potion. Not run, but you can just walk as you chug on a potion. As I say, and then with the whole things being made for you as you pick items up, Wilds does the same thing. Now, though, as I said, you've got that targeting system. I play, one of the weapons I play is Greatsword. Fucking, it's massive, heavy, like Cloud Strife Buster sword thing. Yeah, like a big old bastard sword. It's heavy. And so I can go overarm or wide swing. Okay? And the idea of the greatsword is that you charge your swing. Boom. And you have to you have to know the monster's pattern, and when you know the monster's pattern, you're like, right, that's now gonna go like this way. It's gonna do a charge attack after that. So you stand there and you're getting ready, bam, you hit it, you do massive damage. But if all of a sudden you're not positioned correctly as you start and you do the charge, or it moves out of the way, you're gonna miss, right? Like you get rewarded big damage for knowing all these things, yeah? For learning the patterns and learning how the monster works and all that kind of stuff. But in Wilds, you can't miss. Right? In World, you were kind of able to turn a little bit with the greatsword. Like you could angle your body. Like you're anchored in place, you're ready to swing, but you obviously can't move your legs because this thing's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tilt your upper body to give it a swing. In Wilds, pull that aiming trigger, that aiming thing to get the wound system up, you can pretty much just spin on the spot. You can't miss. If you use that system, you can't miss. And a load of people had to go at me saying, yeah, dude, stop missing. Just aim. Just pull the trigger and aim. I was like,
oh, so the aim is more of a lock-on system then. You don't have to actually... Do you actually have to aim at all yourself?
No, you do have to aim with the stick. Right. But the idea being that, let's say, for example, I had... like give yourself a cone of influence with the greatsword.
Right.
Yeah? If you just don't push anything, you swing and you go forwards. If you realize you're going to miss because the monster has moved slightly off course, you could give yourself maybe a 90-degree swing on one way or the other. Like you could tilt your body. Yeah. In Wilds, it's like, oh fuck, it's now moved behind me. Pull the trigger. Go to the aim system. And I've now turned around to hit it.
Yeah.
Like it is so hard to miss if you use that system because it's allowed you to completely reposition yourself on the fly.
Because the thing is, that's when you first described it to me, I thought, actually, that sounds quite a neat idea. Like you wound it, you have to aim, but that should be trickier. The reward should be, okay, you know how to aim, but when you do get it, you'll get more damage, but it's going to be trickier to do it.
Yeah, well, but the trick, like as I say, that is how that system works. Like when you wound it, you have to aim to hit the wound.
It should be harder.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously easy. However, with the greatsword specifically, it's a very slow weapon. You get rewarded with big damage because you've learned where the monster's going to, like, you've learned the patterns, you've learned how it moved. You've learned how it moves. So you're able to kind of circle round, you go in, you charge your swing, so you pull it over. Because if you've got your sword out, your greatsword can't walk. You have to put it away so you can still move. When you pull out your greatsword, you become like this big fucking lumbering geezer as you're trying to lift this like fucking, 500-pound sword that's in front of you. You then wind up for a swing. You are stuck, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's going to be the most powerful swing you can do. But in that 5-second time, that charge time, the monster could have moved.
Yeah.
If you hit, you've obviously learned, you're learning the patterns. You get rewarded with big damage for learning those patterns. Again, in World, if the monster has moved, you have a little bit of wiggle room, so you can kind of adjust slightly, so you're not as likely to miss.
Yeah.
But in Wilds, just pull that wound system, that trigger aiming system, and it will just let you move on the spot. So instead of only having, say, maybe 90 degrees or whatever to adjust, yeah, good job. You've got fucking 200 degrees.
Yeah.
You can now pretty much move anywhere you want. As long as it's within range, you're going to hit it. And when people started telling me, oh yeah, do this, do that, it's like, dude, I'm making the game easier. And the game's already easy. Like, I want to miss. I want to learn how these monsters move. I don't want to fucking cheese it with these new systems.
Because effectively, each monster should be almost like a boss in other games that you're not going to do the first time.
In theory, yeah.
Each monster, perhaps the first couple you should be able to knock down, like sort of fairly straightforward. But then after that, it should be a case of practice planning, and you fail again and again and again until you get it. Because that's sort of like how it feels. It should be it's basically a series of boss battles. Is how it feels like it should be.
Yeah. Well, that's that. I mean, because a lot of people back in the day used to compare Monster Hunter and Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like the classics, like you're going to get fucked up. You've got inventory management, resource management, stamina management, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you run out of stamina, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You move even slower. You might not even be able to run. You might not be able to dodge roll or anything like that. Because obviously you can do all these things, and that's all tied to resource management. But in Wilds, there's just not there. You're expected to steamroll these fights first time every time, and someone will go, "Well, that's because you're playing low rank story." Even in high rank, these things are not a challenge. Yeah, but you were using the SOS flares. I've done them solo too. They're not fucking fun.
No.
Whereas back in the day, before you went on the hunt, it was like, okay, have you got traps? Yeah, I've got traps. Okay, well, I've got the materials you might need if we need to make anything else. Okay, I've got all the gear to make potions and antidotes and all this kind of stuff. I've got all my gear to deal with the environmental issues, like hot drinks, cold drinks, all that kind of stuff. I've got honey to make stronger potions. I've got like fucking demon drug and all this kind of stuff to like amp myself up in the middle of a fight if we need it. And you're prepping before you even go.
Yeah.
It's quite a slow process, but you're doing it. You're like, yeah, we need this. This is this kind of monster, so we need this kind of armor and all this kind of. We'll go do this thing. That's not how it works in World and Wilds at all. It just doesn't. It's not a thing. You go in there and you win the fight.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn the pattern. Once upon a time, a hunt in Monster Hunter could take you a good 40 minutes.
Which sounds like more how it should be, because it's like it's a series of boss battles or raids in an MMO.
Yeah, I mean, you're a little human guy fighting a fucking giant dinosaur.
It should be tough.
And yet, in World and Wilds, I think our longest fight was probably 20 minutes. And I think that was the end boss of the game. 20 minutes.
Oh, dear.
I was like, and on average, I'd say, so longest was about 20 minutes, and on average, we were finishing hunts in sub 10.
Well,
7 or less. And I was like, oh, okay. But then this was the same in World. I was like, I want a hunt. I want it to be a challenge. I want to learn how this monster works. I want it to hit me and go, oh shit. I want to feel the fear as that monster turns up on the map.
You want to spend ages trying to find. You want to spend ages trying to find it. You eventually track it down, and it hits you out with one hit.
Yeah, I mean that's how it used to be in the classic. You turn up in classic, and all of a sudden the cover boy Rathalos would turn up, and you're like, "Oh, look, it's a Rathalos," and it just go boom, carted. You're like, "Oh shit, my health is gone. Oh no, I now have to avoid that motherfucker because I know he's going to kick my ass." You know, and it's just. It also doesn't help that any items you need to keep yourself on your toes, you've got buckets of them.
Yeah.
Your weapon has a sharpness level on it, unless you've got a gun, right? Once upon a time, you had a limited number of whetstones you could carry with you to sharpen your weapon back up. And then you'd have to go and mine them on the map. You'd have to find mining points to get more. And you might not get more.
Yeah.
Right? If there was like 3 mining points on the map, you might not get more. You had to carry pickaxes for that, and pickaxes could break. Right? So you'd have to have pickaxes to mine the points to get the whetstones to sharpen your weapon. If you used enough of them throughout the fight. Well, yeah, you've got unlimited pickaxes now, which you did in World as well. You've got unlimited sharpening stones. You know, there's no challenge in those 2 areas now. As I say, like potions will make themselves, and there's enough like points on the map to get that stuff. That's all there in abundance. They've taken away a lot of the challenge. It's not so much, as you said, it's not a boss rushy kind of thing anymore. It's a power fantasy.
Yeah.
Now you just run in, you just fight the thing, and I'm thinking, but I wanted to feel like these things were powerful.
Yeah.
That these things were terrifying. That they were actually doing it, and it's just not. And so it's weird that Monster Hunter Rise, which is the kind of a sub-series. So it goes, there's only 6 mainline Monster Hunters. 1, 2, Try, 4, World, and Wilds. Every other game in the series is a sub-series. I spoke to a bunch of people and I said, look, if you want classic, of all the available Monster Hunters, there's 4. 5, World. 6, Wilds. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which is kind of the last classic style Monster Hunter game. And then Monster Hunter Rise, which was kind of like, you know, the sub game between World and Wilds. World style, but with some of the kind of older stuff from classic, like the separate lobbies and stuff. And I was like, if I had to be honest with you, I can't recommend any of the new ones. Like, I can't recommend any of the mainline titles anymore.
No.
If you want to have a good Monster Hunter experience, play Generations Ultimate for Classic, and Wilds, and Rise for it's a lot faster, but you're still gathering stuff. You're still doing stuff in the hub. You can get into multiplayer really quick. There's tons of shit to do. You know, do that, and the graphic style isn't hyper realistic either, which is something they're trying to go for. Well, Sarcastic is realistic.
Yeah.
In Wilds, go with these 2. They're more stylized. They look better. They play better. They're just better. And yet these aren't mainline titles. Play those. They are infinitely better than the big boy titles. And you know, people just don't like my opinion on it. You know, I'm so disengaged by it. It's not that the games are even easy. Some of the fights are hard, but I shouldn't have to grind through all of that shit first. I shouldn't have to do all of this story gump first just to play with my mates. Yeah. You know, it's not my Monster Hunter.
No.
It's just not my Monster Hunter. I'd love to play it now that I've got through the story. If any of my mates get in, I can go, oh, cool. Now I can just jump in because I've already seen the cutscenes. So once they see the cutscenes, I'm in.
Yeah. Your webcam just disappeared.
Yeah, my battery's probably died, mate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, everything's running on battery. But yeah, so it's just I don't know. I love Monster Hunter. I really do. I want every Monster Hunter to do well. Just Wilds isn't for me.
No, doesn't sound like it.
I've just gone round and round and round in circles. When it's good, it's really good. but other times it's just average. And with the technical issues going on with it as well, just no. There's nothing going on that says to me you need to have a fucking supercomputer to play it.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that they recommend frame generation too for 60 FPS is
optimize
weird.
your game better.
Yeah. But then that goes back into my argument. I don't think a lot of these guys know how.
Well, doesn't sound like it based on what you've described.
They, these devs, they've got these one-click tools, and the tool will say, I could probably get rid of 25% of this without people really kind of complaining about it or noticing, without actually realizing that's actually just a background thing. You could probably shave off like another fucking 30, 40, 50% of that, and no one would give a shit.
Yeah.
But because they're not manually doing this stuff, it's requirements are going up. Things aren't stable. I also think it was rushed. I think the PC version was rushed because normally they come out like 6 months after, and it came out on launch day with all the other systems, and it doesn't play great.
Oh dear,
it's not great. It's not my Monster Hunter. I like it, but I don't at the same time. If you get what I mean, it's Monster Hunter. I want it to be great, but it's because I want it to be great that I can't bear to see what they're doing to it.
Well, maybe they'll do like back and forth. So whereas Rise fixed Worlds, perhaps whoever comes after Wilds will fix Wilds.
I would like to see that. I'm looking forward to the next sub game in the series, but it just looks like I might have to avoid mainline from now on.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, bonus. I will give it one bonus. Whilst I have to wait for my mates to go through story, and I have to go through story, it is crossplay. It's the first Monster Hunter that's crossplay. So PC can play with Xbox, can play with PlayStation. And that's fucking amazing. It's the fastest selling Monster Hunter game ever as top 5 in Steam of all time.
Oh, that's worthy.
So it's sold really fucking well.
Yeah, which must make in some ways it's like, oh, that means everybody else seems to like it. Oh,
that's not true though. It launched with mixed negative reviews. Because again, it's just not
optimization and not running properly.
Yeah,
and...
when people are running like 3060s, 3070s, like Zaber's 3070, his 8GB 3070 might have trouble with it.
Oh, that's
because he's only got 8 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah, it's because we have discussed VRAM is the thing now for games. It seems to be their next big thing is push VRAM.
Yeah, so whilst the card should be fast enough, if he hasn't got the VRAM, he ain't playing it. Like my laptop, I've got a 3060, but because I've only got 6 gigs of VRAM, the game instantly wants, if I go anything over medium, like low medium, it instantly wants 8 gigs of VRAM. It's fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. But it's got crossplay, so woo.
That's something.
There you go. Brad, what have you been playing, man?
Right. Well, I've been playing something very similar to you, actually, in a way, which will make sense when we get through it. So I've been playing a game called, and I always have to look the name up because, frankly, the name is a bit dumb. It's a game called Hardspace Shipbreaker. And it's set in the far-flung future where humanity's gone out to the stars, but in doing so, they've decided to produce this sort of excess waste, equipment not needed, and you are basically employed as you sign up for this company called Lynx Corporation, and you are employed as basically a salvage agent, and your job is to break up spaceships. They get delivered to you like after they've got to end of life, and you are basically got to pull them apart and dismantle them. And it's fairly straightforward. So each ship is split into your sort of work area. You have at one end you've got do some furnaces. The next stage you've got a thing called a processor, and then below you've got what they call the barge. And so you put into your furnaces aluminium, which makes up sort of the core structure of a ship. The processors use I think it's called nanocarbon. I can never remember the name of it because after a while it's like that goes in this process. I forgot not pay attention to what it is. And they are generally the outer sort of plates of your ship. And then the barge is things like fixtures and fittings, like chairs, computers, stuff that the company can sell on as a thing, directly without having to be broken down, like engine nacelles, that sort of thing. So the general sort of like gameplay works like, and these sort of things get switched on and off. So initially when you're first playing it, this is all switched off as you sort of learning the ropes, and then and also when you do like sort of like training missions to teach you a new mechanic, they'll switch all this stuff off. But in a normal game day, you'll have like a work day, and each work day is 15 minutes long.
Right.
As you're in outer space, you have to worry about oxygen, fuel for your thrusters. You also have like health for yourself, and like your suit your space suit has an integrity as well.
Right.
Like I say, these get when you're doing a training mission, these all get switched off. Amusingly though, the warning noises don't. So I went to because also when your O2 and your fuel gets really low, you'll get like a little warning sound to let you know. I left a day with my thruster full really low, and where oxygen gets refreshed automatically, it goes back to full when you start the day because you live on the space. You live in this little space capsule like place. So of course you're going to fresh oxygen when you go out. Your thruster fuel doesn't. You have to pay to refill that. So I went to a training mission where there was all the gauges were switched off, but I had the constant alarm blaring at me telling my fuel was low.
Whoops.
So I had to go and I bought some fuel that got rid of it. The game uses Newtonian physics, sort of. Yeah, well, so it's got the usual, like, you're floating around in space, the usual, like, you have to decelerate, that sort of stuff.
Just want to throw that. I love that. I love it.
I love it, particularly when you sort of, like, get the hang of it and get good at it. You can, like, you sort of, like, naturally start spinning yourself around.
Yeah.
However, I have noticed that if you, say, pull a part away and sort of, like, then send it off in the direction, they do, after a while, slow down to a stop, which shouldn't happen.
Yeah, sure.
I think
so they've made it to the point that so you can still go and gather it rather than just you've let it go. It's now fucked off forever.
Yes, exactly. It sort of doesn't. You can get stuff to go outside your play area, but it's almost sort of has to be done deliberately. It's quite hard. But in general, you don't really notice that. It's like just a couple of times I noticed it when like I was sending stuff towards the furnaces, flung in the direction. It's like, oh, I can forget about those now. And I look when they're still there because they haven't quite. And certain furnaces and stuff, and the process itself has like a sort of a suction to them. If you get like nearby them, it will sort of pull things in, which can be a blessing and a curse in some places because it will also pull you in as well, which is a little bit concerning. But for the most part, it feels quite real. So it does a fairly neat job of like feeling like you're actually out in space, having to worry about getting your suit damaged and how to deal with the threats and stuff that you will encounter in the game.
Yeah.
Basic tools you get. So there's two main tools that you start with, and that is your grapple and that is your cutter. So the grapple, strange enough, grapples things. It's a bit similar to like the gravity gun. It doesn't sort of like pull things towards you, but if you like, you'll aim at something, you'll fire, then you'll get this like little blue sort of like streak go out to whatever you're aiming at. It's like a rope almost. And then as you move around the grapple, it will try and pull whatever it is your grapple to wherever you're pointing. So if you aim at a furnace, it'll gradually, and obviously the heavier something is, the slower it will pull it. And some things it won't pull at all; they're too heavy for it to do. But you could pull it. So let's say you want to throw something in the furnace, you'll grapple it, you'll pull it, and watch it sort of gradually float across, and then you aim at the furnace. You've got like a push effect where you can like sort of push it away from you. Again, how fast is how heavy it is, but basically allows you to sort of fling things into your furnaces and processes and what have you. And obviously really light stuff, you can really fling it at quite speed, which is quite fun. You can also wheel something in, so your secondary control, all these weapons equipment have like a secondary mode. Your secondary control basically will put it towards you. That's risky though, because if it's a bit too heavy and you don't stop, it'll just come straight at you and smash right into you and hurt you. Or if you're really unlucky, it'll smash your helmet, which is not a good thing. Or as I did accidentally, was reading something towards me, got a little bit too fast, and I had the furnace behind me. It hit me and threw me into the furnace.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds great.
It was great. It's like, oh fuck. Because as I went up towards it, I thought, oh shit, this is going to go bad. Oh shit, I'm burning. Oh dear, I died.
Not that I think you falling into a furnace is a great thing, Ram, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I was okay in this game. you respawn. You will be brought back to life through their special service they have, where they basically re-put you into a new body. That's very kind of you. Also later on with the grapple, you unlock tethers, which are basically like you can basically like link two things together and they'll pull each other together. So the obvious thing to do that is you link, say, a bit of scrap, put the other end inside the furnace, and it'll just pull it towards the furnace towards you. And it does still follow the physics. It'll pull. If you put it on the edge, it'll sort of spin it around. So you might do things like you have like an object that's sort of like an internal part, and this sort of surround. You won't pull the surround off. You can put the tether on one side and then pull it to the first opposite side. It'll like pull it around at a 90-degree angle because that's where it's pushing the force. You can also link things together and form like a chain. So if you link several bits together, you can then send it all into the furnace in like a chain, which is quite handy. And the also worth about tethers is you can like put multiple ones on, and they'll pull it like faster. Or if it's really heavy, because tethers are a lot more powerful than your gun. Your grapple gun, so they'll sort of pull it in a bit quicker for you. Oh, another thing interesting about the reeling in on the grapple, just quickly. If something is too heavy, instead of it reeling towards you, you'll get reeled towards it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you have to like plan a little bit about what you're going to do, because also you might see it fly across the ring, or sometimes you'll find it where you'll be reeling in and it'll be sort of like pulling towards you, but like because it's a bit heavier than you, you'll sort of like meet in the middle. So which is quite cool. Your other main tool is your cutter. So this has two modes. The first mode is like a focused direct beam, and if you fire it, whatever you're firing at, it will gradually start to heat up to like the point it melts away. That's important, which I'll get into a little bit later. I'll see what's important. Other mode it has is it cuts along a line. So basically, you'll have a line, and if you fire, it'll cut along that entire line. So like in like Dead Space, it's got that gun that sort of shoots in a straight line and cuts everything like directly on the line path. It's like that basically. That I actually find is a bit annoying because it's also the way it's programmed is that when it hits something, it just cuts like the sort of the object it's being aimed at. So let's say you have like a panel that's got like some structure behind it.
The object behind it's fine. It's stopped. Yeah, sure.
Exactly right. So that's a little bit like annoying because you'll try like cut something out. Like for example, you want to cut like the end of a module so you can like pull the stuff inside out easier. You can't just like cut on all four sides. You have to then go back and cut like the joins behind it, which is a little bit annoying because it can come through a lot of fixed stuff. But that's also a programming issue they've had to face.
Yeah, sure.
And the cutter though, those tools become like your main bits, so you separate up. So there's also demo charges which I've literally just unlocked, and I've not had a go of them yet. That was the last few I unlocked, and I ran out of time to sit down and have a play with them. So I don't know how they work yet. They'll have time to come. The ships themselves are really quite modular. They're really sort of cleverly designed. They feel like a sort of slightly abstract, but like a real thing, which I quite like. So they'll have like electrical trunking running through them and stuff, and they'll be like designed in this all logical way. They're basically designed in sort of two ways. You have like an internal structure, which tends to be made out of aluminium, and then that'll be connected to like the outer paneling of the ship. So it forms like this sort of double hull. And that hull tends to be the sort of nanomaterials. How they're all joined together is with these cutting points. These cutting points hold everything together, and that's what your cutter can melt very easily. And that's good because that doesn't cost you any. It doesn't cost you any. There's no penalty to melting cutting points. You can melt other things as well, but every bit of scrap that you melt in this force ray, you basically get docked money for. Not in the sense that you get money took off you, but in the sense that the value of the whole ship is gone. Earn. Exactly. Yeah. So you basically have to sort of go in, and initially it's very straightforward. You just cut everything up, cut all the cutting points, tear up all the parts, send them to the relevant furnaces, processes, barges, and just pull apart ship bit by bit. But it's very satisfying. Gradually sort of like working from one end and gradually dismantling it bit by bit by bit. And I tend to do ships in sections. So like, this ship's like 3 sections. So I'll do that section first, split it all up, get rid of that. Then I'll do the other section, gradually work my way down. It's really satisfying, just sort of pulling it apart in a nice way. And each ship design is designed to be somewhat logical. So like they'll have like ships that are like just designed to be a hauler. So it's basically just like a big metal frame that has just place to put like stuff to it. There's a small cockpit, like a small like personal space inside for the pilot to go into. And you can separate it all out and cut it all up. they feel sort of real, which is quite nice. I mean, they're not obviously, but they do feel like there's a certain degree of consistency to them. Yeah. Now, to make it somewhat fun, you have to, and somewhat hazardous, you'll encounter hazards on these ships. And these are, what I like about these is that all these hazards, if you plan, you can sort of mitigate.
So like, are we talking like fuel lines?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So like first hazard you encounter is electrical hazards. So you will find if you like pull like a console off, because you can basically use your grapple gun to like rip things apart. So like you can use it to like rip like lights off the wall, so you can then put them into the barge, or rip chairs off the floor and put them into the barge. If you rip something electrical and you're too near, you'll get a shock from the electrical and it'll damage you. Unless you can find the battery powering it and just pull that out first, and then you make it all safe.
Okay, that's neat.
But that then ties to other things, because certain ship systems you may need to interact with then get disabled. Now, for
yeah, sure. It's like you need to open up doors, have lights on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you can't. You may have to sort of think, okay, do I need this battery here first? Do I need to like be? You have to sort. You can't just, as on the more complicated ships, you have to sort of plan how you're going to put it apart.
Can you like just carry a battery with you and like connect it as a
No, once you move a battery, it's disconnected. You can't reconnect it. That is one thing that I think you should be able to do personally, because it seems logical that that battery must be replaceable, so you should be able to like plonk it back. But
yeah, sure.
You can't. But I suppose it just adds a bit to the challenge. There's fire, which again, as you mentioned, there's fuel pipes, and you can basically purge the fuel pipes. If you purge them first, you can then remove them, because fuel pipes often will be linked together and there'll be cutting points to disconnect the pipes. Well, as you can imagine, if you cut a cutting point on a pipe that's full of fuel, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, sure.
There was one ship that I had where the engine, but I couldn't get into the ship no matter how I looked to go. I couldn't work our way into it because it's all nanocarbon. The outside your cutter doesn't work on. It only works on aluminium, so you can't cut your way through it. You have to dismantle it by dismantling the connection points. And at the end of the ship was the like end of the engine, and there was I had four fuel pipes going to each with a cutting point on it. The only way, and the purge valve for the fuel tank was at the other end behind this engine nacelle, so you couldn't get to it.
Sure.
So what I had to do was I had to cut through all the cutting points, which would set the thing on fire, and then pull out the engine nozzle, then leg it down there, hoping not to get set on fire as I went down there, to get to the full shut off, to shut it off, to release everything. So after a while, I got sort of a trick to doing this. So I attach a tether to the nacelle before or a thruster before I cut through it. The plan being that as soon as the last cut went, it would just fling out because it's quite light, and the tether would just pull it out immediately. So and then I could get down there as quick as I can, pull it, purge it, job done, nice and safe. And then there's also fuel tanks. Obviously, the other thing is with like fuel tanks, you've got to be very careful when you're using your cutter around them, because that heats things up.
Yeah.
And so they're often mounted with cutting points around to hold them in place. So you have to like, okay, be very careful how I aim this, so I don't accidentally miss like I did one time, not paying attention. The cutting point melted away, and my cutter went straight through and hit the fuel tank behind it. Yeah, that didn't go well. That didn't go well. You also deal with like decompressions. So some of those ship bits will be pressurized, and the way you depressurize them is you have to go in. There's like a what's it called? It's like a device on the wall that basically will depressurize the room for you if you activate it.
Yeah, sure.
If you don't activate it, you can get explosive decompressions, which are quite fun. To be honest, the depressurization isn't really that big a deal. It sounds a lot worse than it is. Right. It's got to the point now where I don't worry about it too much. If the ship's been pressurized, I'll just cut through the airlock and it will go. The airlock door, yes, will come fleeing off, but I'll grab with the grabber so I can send it to the process to be dealt with. Sure. And it makes a lot of noise for a bit, but then it's generally the quickest and easiest way. It's not that. I don't really worry about that anymore.
I was going to say, well, because surely if you're just scrapping everything that's on the inside anyway, the worst thing you're going to have is maybe potentially damage to yourself or losing a part of the ship.
Well, yeah, it won't damage the ship so much, but it will, obviously, anything that's not tied down, it will pull out with it.
Yeah.
As you expect. But given most things are attached, it's not that big an issue, to be honest. I've never really had that much trouble. Not the final thing, because I said I'm not all the way through it. I've now, so one of the latter things you get is reactors. So reactors power parts of the ship. They mainly power the engines. Okay. And whilst they're mounted on the ship, they're fine. Second you separate them, they start to begin a meltdown sequence. And if you don't get into the barge...
you separate the coolant kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So on the first basic reactor, it's just like a little hold and you pull it out. So what you need to do is you need to go, okay, there's a reactor here. I need to like plan a route. You've got to plan a route to get it out quick. So I get onto the barge. If you get onto the barge, it's fine. Once it gets to the barge, it's safe and it won't blow up and you get lots of money from. Reactors are worth an awful lot of money. But it's like, okay, what I need to do is separate all. So you have to like plan your route. So you need to separate all the sort of like areas around the ship first. This is like the last thing you do. Or like you at least expose it as quick as you can so you can remove it and get it into the barge as quick as possible. There are bigger reactors that you can't just yank out. Well, you can, but they'll melt down very quickly. But if you take your time to sort of properly disable them, they won't melt down so quick. So like the bigger reactors, you have to like disable purge all the fuel valves, which they're connected to on the engine, which you need power for. So if you take the power out first, you can't do this, as I discovered.
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned. So you purge it, and there's also like a coolant system, which if you remove all the coolant first, once you do that, the reactor will begin its meltdown sequence, but it'll be a lot slower because you've like properly disabled it. All the reactors also behind shielding, so you need to remove all that shielding first as well so you're ready. So when you play that last bit of coolant, you can really out there, grab that reactor and put it into the barge. So you could just whip it out and throw it down in there anyway, but you're on a shorter timer.
Sure.
So, but it's So the hazard sort do make things. It's nice having to like on the more complicated. It's almost like a puzzle, having to plan ahead and think. And because obviously you want to do as best you can. Because how the game sort of like works is every ship you have, there's like a status bar at the top of the screen that shows that represents like the entire ship's worth of salvage. Everything that you mistakenly destroy. Basically, at the far end on the right-hand side, you'll get this like red bar starts to fill up as you destroy things. That's representing the money you've lost by destroying things. And then the green bar fills from the left as you get rid of things and they properly scrap.
Is there a completion rate you need to move on to the next?
No, not to move on to the next one. However, you'll have like what they call salvage goals, which are marked on this bar. And when you get to a salvage goal, that gives you experience points and it gives you points to upgrading weapons. So you won't be penalised. You won't can't move on the game by not salvaging a whole ship or like ruining half of it.
But your progression will be cleaner. Like the next thing that you do will be cleaner because you actually work to get the better gear to work on the higher end materials.
And also you might sort of plan what you're doing as well, because as a work days are 15 minutes, and you don't want to waste a work day. You kind of sort of want to like, okay, I need to sort of like switch a bit away so that the last day it's worth coming back to it to do it. So you want to sort of plan out how you dismantle it so you don't like waste time. You don't want to waste time hanging around, but at the same time you want to sort of plan it so you don't have a day where you're only going back to like pick a few bits up and throw them away and then end the day.
Yeah.
So the game has got a storyline to it, and you've basically signed up to be this called Lynx Corporation. You've signed up to be a member of it, and Lynx will set you up for like the sort of whole day ahead. Like they'll set you all set up. They'll put you in a like sort of. They'll transport you to the place. They'll set you up on the system so you can get respawned if you die. They'll set like your work shaping up. They'll give you all your bits and pieces. However, they charge you for this.
Come out your pay packet.
And you start the game $1.25 billion in debt.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too bad.
No, it's too bad. A ship, so how that you pay off your debt is by salvage. So all the money you sell from the salvage goes straight off your debt. However, you are charged every day living expenses, such as interest, such as auction, such as rental on your hab, rental for your equipment, an admin fee. If you die, you get charged for being respawned. You get all this charged to you every day. So it works out about 500 million, I think it's about 500, it's about $500,000 a day you get charged.
Yeah.
But a ship will pull in, a small ship will pull in about 6 million, which off a debt of $1.25 billion is it's not really much. The ships I'm on right now are putting in about $20 million. So it's starting to erode it down slowly.
As long as you stay above your interest rate, you're all right.
Yeah, very slowly you're gradually wearing it down. This is where your work days come in, because obviously you want to make it, because well, each work day you're going to be charged. You want to sort of make it worth it.
Yeah, sure.
But if you get the parts done properly, you'll get the money. If you get parts in the wrong place, also you lose them off the ship, which you want to do. But if you sort of like practice enough, you'll be all right. You'll make some money. As long as every day you are in profit, you're not too bad. But you want to like get as much money coming as you can. You then use your experience points basically by going up a level, unlocks more bigger ships, unlocks more hazards. So all the hazards I've described, I've got access to by upgrading your license, which is going up a level. And as you get a license, you're now, okay, you're licensed too. You can now deal these hazards. You're now authorized to deal these types of machines and stuff.
So I suppose like you wouldn't have dealt with like nuclear reactors right at the start on your baby boy ship. Sure.
No, not until I think that's like level 4, 5, something like that. I've now got to level 10. I think there's 30 levels. And I'm now got to the next stage of reactor. So you own a lot more stuff. And the ships you got access to are big, because the ships, they won't give you ships that have got stuff you can't deal with. So the ships get bigger and more interesting and more, I think, longer to dismantle, so forth. So experience points don't just put your level up, but you also get points to upgrade your gear. And this is the idea. The company is like, as they trust you more, they'll let you unlock more features of your gear because you've proven that you can be more safer. And then they're your usual things like your cutter will have a longer range, your grapple's more powerful, your suit auction lasts long, because like at the first your auction only lasts like 5 minutes on a 15-minute day, so you have to go back. There's a term where you can buy, but that costs you money. That's not free. None of it's free. So I mean, it's not a lot, but it's not cheap. It's not nothing either. So you upgrade your auction supply so it lasts longer. So my auction now lasts about 10 minutes because I've upgraded it a couple of times. So that makes it's nearly a full day's worth. So soon if I keep working on that, I shouldn't need to keep paying for auction. The other thing that happens to your weapons though is your weapons all gradually wear down and start to break.
Oh mate!
So you have to buy repair kits as well to repair them. And you cannot upgrade the durability so they don't wear down so quickly. I forgot to mention actually, another tool you have is a scanner. The scanner is useful because the scanner will show you where your cutting points are. It will show you like general structure. It will show you if there's any items there. The scanner is very useful, particularly when your ship's blown apart. You're trying to find all the individual pieces of it everywhere.
Just a note. So wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
I take it like that's not just through the mission. They're not just going to give you new kit for the next ship that you have to do.
No, it's persistent.
Okay. Fantastic.
So you have to pay to upgrade and repair it and stuff. And also wear and tear does things like on your cutter. The cutter if you use the cutter too much, it will overheat and it'll set you on fire if it does. As the wear and tear, your bar for how quickly it overheats gradually starts to go down. So basically, the more worn it is, the more likely it's to overheat. So you have to be a little bit careful.
Is this one of those games? I don't know why, but I'm getting a vibe of like House Flipper style.
Yes, it's Space House Flipper.
I could be wrong in terms of like a Unity style thing.
Oh, I don't know what engine.
I can't remember what engine it is, but you know what I mean, like that kind of look.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know what engine it's made. I'm gonna have to quickly look this up.
Because I was going to say when we played. Do you remember when we played Ark?
Yeah.
Everything started to look like Ark. Like there was a bunch of games that came out that looked like Ark, but there was a load of games that then came out that looked like Rust and stuff like that. I was just starting to think like, this sounds like it's built very much on the same.
Yeah, it is a Unity engine. Well guessed. But it crashes the same itch. This itch of you're doing a job, and you're going to do it well. You're going to get better at it, and that sort of itch of like, there's something very satisfying in building something and sort of seeing it gradually come together. Mm-hmm. And there's something very satisfying dismantling something in a nice, predictable way. You're not just smashing it apart, you're doing it in a nice, predictable way. There's something very satisfying about both.
But does it not freak you out if you see the money go the wrong way?
Yes.
Particularly, this starts to feel like IRL.
Yeah, particularly if you really fuck up and you the bar goes like beyond one of the salvage goals, and your computer will very kindly tell you you're unable to attain all the salvage goals on this level on the ship.
Oh dear.
It's like,
wait, so is this what you're saying? Like, because you're saying, it's a bit like what I was playing. So we're saying like the progression, like going through and.
I was thinking more.
Right now, we're getting a glowing review at this point.
I was thinking it's more like, oh, look, I've seen a big animal, I'm going to cut it up type thing.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I've a big spaceship monster, metal monster. I'm going to cut it up.
I need this gear.
Yeah, but I have to say, it's one of those games. It's one of those games where it's like, oh, I can't wait to load it up again and play a bit more. This game shouldn't be that fun. It shouldn't be a game which you just like. All you do is floating around, melting things, and dragging them somewhere else. It shouldn't be that fun, but it really is.
We call this the virtual tennis effect.
Yeah.
It's straight out, but you are finding a lot of games of late with the virtual tennis effect.
These are
games that have no right being as fun as they are.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
They're not AAA games either. This is the great thing about it.
No, well, to be fair, but this is published by. I mean, it's not AAA. No, it's published by Focus Entertainment, who are a fairly large publisher. They're not like.
But that's a publisher, not a developer.
True, but they are publishing games like this.
Yeah.
So, but no, really, really, yeah. So it's a game which is great also because it's quite chill. Apart from like when the reactor starts to melt down, in general, it's just quite.
Or when you get knocked into a furnace.
Yeah. Oh, if you get knocked into a furnace, you get an email from this like cult called who believe in the furnace god, and they'll talk to you and like suggest like, isn't it great you felt his loving, warm embrace as you burn to death. And they'll start sort of like sending you like sort of propaganda and stuff about them. It's quite cool. It's also a little
cool. You go to work and you join a cult.
It's basically a union, isn't it?
It's got it.
Yeah.
Good job, comrade.
Yeah, comrade. But no, it's absolutely cool. And it's very sort of like, I can't wait to get to the bigger and bigger ships and sort of like and pull them apart. It's going to be so fun. But yeah, very much recommended on my recommended list. It's currently on Steam on sale for £10.49, and it's
unfortunate I'm poor.
And it's definitely worth it.
I would ask if it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, but these days it doesn't matter because of Proton. So
let's have a look. See, I can tell you. Let's have a look. See, Steam Deck verified.
Amazing. That means it's going to run well then. You can play that game on a potato.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah. No, but I have to say, yep, cannot but do nothing but recommend it. So,
I love it when you find games like that, Ram.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. It's when you get a game like this, it's so chill, it's so nice. It's just exactly what you want.
We've learned something realistically over the last few years. If you want to have a good time gaming, generally speaking, not always, generally speaking, avoid the AAA stuff. Gaming is still doing great, but you've got to come out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
There'll be some random indie title out there that's just amazing. Do that.
Yeah. I honestly do think that there's a lot of shit coming out of indie, but there's also a lot of like creativity coming out of it.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't cost as much, does it? The studio is much smaller.
Yeah, and they can afford to take more risks. And sometimes those risks don't work. But do you know what? At least they tried.
And when they do, oh my god.
When they do. And Skazz has got a little surprise waiting for them.
Oh, hang on. I'll have to move to go and click the thing. Was that what that it was?
That may be what that it is.
Hang on. Give me but a moment. Oh, you fucking sweetheart! He just sent me the game. Oh, mate, I'm gonna stream that.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, honestly, go for that. It's a real fun. I mean, I'm 12 hours in. I didn't realize I was that far in.
That again, sign of a great game.
Yeah.
You just start it. You're doing a few bits, and you're like, "Oh crap!" Right? Like all of a sudden it's daytime, and they're like, "Where's the sun gone?"
Yeah, yeah. It is. Thought the game was like, I need some. The good thing is because it has got like in-game days, work days, like 50 minutes. You can go. Yeah, I can do another day because you've got
like go for a couple of days, Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a little. Oh, I can finish now. You've got like a natural like finishing, which is quite nice. Because you have to stop if you don't. Oh yeah, instantly. When the timer starts to get low on the days, don't worry because it makes it like he said the guy who you're working with, Weaver, who's like your boss. He's like, you've got like 1 minute left. Don't be a hero. Make sure you get back. And the first time he said that, I thought something bad was going to happen if I didn't get back to the hab before the day ran out. Turns out it's no nonsense. The day was running, it just ends.
Okay.
There's no punishment for it, as far as I can see. So it just ends. So don't worry. I just usually spend the last part of my day just cutting as many things as I can because that's quick and easy and you can get a lot of stuff cut in a very short space of time. But yeah, enjoy that. Let me know how it plays on the deck.
Will do.
Ooh. Right, on that note, I need to be somewhere at 9, so I really need to stop. So,
bless you. Well, thank you for the gift, Rem.
No, enjoy that. So, thank you very much for joining us this evening. You can check out our next podcast, which will be on the 27th of March, 2025, at 6:30 GMT. Check out our next games night, which will be on the 26th of March at 8:30-ish. Again, you can check that out on twitch.tv/RandNerds. You can check the podcast on twitch.tv/RandNerds or youtube.com/RandNerds. Check those all out. And we'll see you guys in that fortnight. So for me, the Suffolk Ram,
Skazz,
we'll see you guys in a fortnight. Have a good evening.
Take it easy, guys.